Girl, he started climbing in my window. Now I need to see my cousin. I got something I want to tell her. I want to ask her about some homework. Anything to get downstairs, right? I ain't crying because I'm pregnant. I'm crying because this is my last day on earth.
Sometimes we laugh, sometimes we cry, but I guess you know now.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Ivy and this channel is Women's Life with Ivy. Girl, I'm so glad to be back. And with a story time. So listen, let's do a little housekeeping. If you're new here, please like this video. Please consider subscribing. And yeah, let's get into this story time. So, ladies and gentlemen, I need y'all to be real careful of your friends, your friend kids, how they play, interact. You need to keep a watch on them. Y'all two might be best friends, but your kids might be doing something else. I'm just gonna put that out there. This is just a cautionary tale. Y'all know I'm gonna tell y'all about me. So, as you can see by the title, yes. So, my mother friend, she had boys, all boys, and then it was me. And I was what the old folks call fast, hot in a tail, right? So, of course, we played. I've been knowing my daughter's father since I probably was about 5, and he was 12. He's 7 years older than me. So anyway, we used to creep. So I creep, yeah. We used to hump. We used to do what some kids do. Now, I'm not going to say all kids, some kids, right? So I remember as I got up in age, most times we lived near them or somewhere in close proximity, but we end up moving upstairs from them. And so this was my mom's best friend for like years and years and years, because at this time, I'm probably about 14, maybe going into 15, somewhere in that age range, right? And so they were already living downstairs and my mom was looking for a place. And so she called, and it's a 3-bedroom upstairs over me. Why don't you move in and bring your fast daughter for my son? Now, she ain't say that, but anyway, that's what happened. So anyway, we moved over there. I had been over quite a few times. So anyway, my mother's best friend ended up adopting 2 of my cousins, right? So I was already going over there to visit and hang out on the weekends and different things like that. So when I would go over there, yeah, it'd be all fun. They be, the boys would be in the backyard and they listening to Prince and they doing all kinds of stuff, right? So we move over there. Now, when we move over there, it's my mom's best friend, it's my cousins, my blood cousins. So now, even though they're my cousins, it's like I have sisters now, you know what I'm saying? Because my mother hadn't had my youngest sister. So anyway, I remember it was 1, 2, 3. It was 3 bedrooms, 1 off the living room, 1 off the dining room, and 1 off the kitchen. So the bedroom off the living room, which led out to the top porch, that was my bedroom. And the second bedroom, I don't know who bedroom that was. I think it started out as my mom. But anyway, she moved into the living room on a let-out bed. That's just what she liked to do, okay? So anyway, and the back bedroom was my brother. So, well, both my brothers. So anyway, somehow somebody came to stay with us. And my bedroom ended up being back there with my brother. So me and him back there, we brothers and sisters, that was just normal, what I'm saying? Sometimes you sleep in the same bed. Anyway, so Whoever was there, they end up moving out. Instead of me going back to the first bedroom, which was off the living room where my mother was, she moved me to the second bedroom, which was off the dining room. When you come in the house, you come in. We lived upstairs, so when you come up the stairs, you come into the dining room. And then you turn to the left, and there's my bedroom right there. So, anyway, look, I was fast. I tell y'all, that's probably why I stay on these kids, and I stayed on my daughter, because I knew I was fast. So, I was a good girl, but I was fast girl. You know how they say them church girls are? Look, ain't nobody asked you. I'm just saying. So, anyway, my bedroom ended up being a second bedroom. So, we are laughing, joking. We downstairs all the time, or they upstairs. Well, the boys didn't really come upstairs, but I was downstairs. I made it my business to go downstairs. Now I need to see my cousin. I got something I want to tell her. I want to ask her about some homework. Anything to get downstairs, right? So, girl, he started climbing in my window. Now, as soon as my mother was good and asleep in the living room on the let-out bed, he would climb upstairs in my window. He would take a ladder from the backyard. Anyway, girl, he would go in the back, in the garage, and get the ladder. It was one of them tall ladders like you climb almost to the roof with, right? So, girl, one day the neighbor caught him. I'm still looking at this light. Maybe I should have turned that light off. But anyway, the neighbor caught him coming from my room. And she was like, I'm going to tell y'all mama. If I see that ladder, her name was, I promise you, I am not making this up. Her name was Miss Steps. That was her name, Miss Steps. She said if I find that ladder up there again, I'm telling y'all mothers. Because she knew both our mothers. She already knew his mom. And then she knew my mom. We had been living over there for a couple years at this point. So anyway, girl. So he stopped. Because, you know, for her to be an older lady, it was a wonder she didn't tell on us in the beginning. But she didn't. So anyway, girl, I'm sweating. Ooh, I need a church fan. So anyway, I should have probably turned that air on before. But anyway, so he stopped climbing up in the window. We still was being fast, you know. We still was being fast. So, girl, time goes on. None is the wiser. I'm not thinking I could get pregnant. So time is going on. I ain't thinking about it. By this time I had started my cycle, but I didn't realize that I wasn't getting a regular cycle because I had just started not too long ago, maybe about a year or so ago. So anyway, girl, my mother said, let's go to the doctor. Because I'm acting funny, I'm acting moody, I ain't showing, but a parent just knows, right? My mom take me to the hospital. I am really sweating. My mom takes me to the hospital. I never forget Nurse Howard. I will never, ever forget Nurse Howard. Ever. So anyway, run all these tests. Nurse Howard tell my mama on the side, because ain't no test been confirmed, right? Tell her on the side, I don't know what you want to do with this information. I don't know what you're going to do to your child after this. And back then, we went to Sisters Hospital, and they still wore those nurses' hats back then, right? Girl, Nurse Howard told my mama, it ain't been confirmed, but your daughter is pregnant. First of all, Nurse Howard, I'm going to need you to mind all your business. Ma'am, be telling my personal business. So anyway, my mama looking at me. We standing in the hall at Sisters Hospital. She looking at me. I'm looking at her. I don't know what y'all talking about. I'm a virgin. I've never ever seen one in person. That's what I'm gonna say, right? So anyway, get home, and I think maybe a day passed. The phone rings. And I answered the phone. Now, it wasn't no cell phones back there. You had the regular phone that was right there at my mama, like her let-out bed, and then the coffee table, she had it on the side, and that was her actual, like, bed table where she kept all her stuff. Whatever you keep on your nightstand, that's what she had there. So anyway, I get the phone. And when I get the phone, they say this is Sisters Hospital. As a matter of fact, I was 16 because technically they wasn't supposed to even tell my mother anything because I was 16. So yeah, I was 16. Girl, just turned 16. As a matter of fact, this was around October. I'm telling y'all, some stuff in life you just will never forget. You might not get the exact date, but you will get the time frame. So this was around October. My birthday is in August. I had just turned 16. Girl, hello, man. We speak to such and such. This is her. Now, look, ma'am, this is my important phone call. So the lady said, yes, we're calling to confirm that you are, in fact, pregnant. You're such and such amount of weeks along. And I think I might have been I think I was maybe like 12 weeks along because I was like 3 months pregnant when I found out I was pregnant. So anyway, I'm listening to this lady and I'm like, y'all don't understand who I live with. Y'all, look, in a few short years, y'all gonna make some laws from some stuff that she do to us. She's gonna be a contributing factor. You don't understand who I live with. So anyway, I'm listening to her. It's not Nurse Howard, it's another nurse. I'm listening to her and she telling me this and I get all the gist. I'm crying. I ain't crying because I'm pregnant. I'm crying because this is my last day on earth. That's why I'm crying. Look, I'm telling y'all, look, I love my mother. I miss my mother. I hate to talk about her in a light like this, but girl. So I'm crying. The lady at this point, I'm not audible at all. She can't understand anything I'm saying. She's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I get myself together. I'm like, can you tell my mother that I'm pregnant? I just ain't gonna be able to do it. Look, the baby. Oh, that's the dog. The baby is just gonna come, and I'm be like, who child is that? Cause I ain't claiming it. I don't know. I wasn't there. So anyway, the lady was like, oh sure, chipper white lady. Yeah, ma'am. This is a black woman. We're on public assistance. It's hard time, Mississippi. And my daughter is fast as I don't know what. That's what's going on in my household. I don't know what you're doing in your household. So anyway, she says, yeah, no problem. I'll tell your mother. I'm like, my telephone. She was like, what's wrong with you? Why are you crying? She want to talk to you. I don't know who she is, but she said she want to talk to you. So my mother get the phone. Now I'm looking at my mother. And my mother looking at me. I'm looking at my mother, and I'd be doggone if she ain't still looking at me. So anyway, my mother looking at the phone. My mother looking at me. And she looking at me. And it ain't looking good. Let me just say that. It ain't looking good. So my mother get off the phone. My mother say, look, I know I say my name is Ivy. That's a nickname. That is not what's on my birth certificate. I've said it plenty of times. My name is Irene. I'm named after my grandmother. My mother said, Irene. I was like, yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Girl, I'm traumatized even telling this story. So She said, come on over here and sit down. Now, in the living room, there's nowhere else to sit but on my mother's bed. You got the top on both sides. You got the bottom on both sides, and then you got it in the middle. My mother was sitting at her spot, almost at the top. So I go sit all the way on the other side at the foot of the bed, right? So she said, nah, come on over here. So my mother's at the top, sitting on the side, and I'm at the foot, like almost hanging off. It's a let-out bed so you can feel the rails up under it. My thigh is touching the rail. Ma'am, I don't want to be in swinging distance. So anyway, my mom said, so you're pregnant? I said, huh? My mama said, if you could hide, you could hear. Look, I'm talking in a loud tone so y'all can hear me, but my voice was not this loud and it was cracking. So I said, yes, ma'am. She said, who the daddy?
I want every man in this camp on the line right now. It's my baby boss. He's lying. I'm the father of that baby boss. I want it different. That little rascal belonged to me. I'm the baby.
Who the daddy? I said, because now at this point, I ain't got no reason to lie. My heart is racing right now. That's probably why I was sweating, right? My look, it's been 38 years. We done got past this. I'm sorry, I'm back. So anyway, I feel this air now too. So anyway, what we gonna call him? We gonna call him Sean. That's my mama, best friend, baby son. That's who he is. So I say, she said, who the daddy? I said, Sean. She said, Sean who? I said, Sean downstairs. Look. She said, Sean downstairs. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, oh, you want to be grown. So, anyway, she fussed. I can't remember verbatim, but she fussed. And at the end of that, I was shocked. I was shocked. Look. You know how your mama go to church? And she praise the Lord. And then when she get home, she tear your ass up. That's what that's the kind of mama I had, right? So, God must have rained down. Because when I tell you the next words that come out of her mouth, I thought it was, I'm going to kill you. That's what I thought she was going to say. I'm going to kill you. My mama told me she would be proud to be a grandmother. And we rocked and rolled that thing. And my mom was in the delivery room with me. And I was due on July the 3rd. And I had my daughter July the 2nd. And from that day until my mother left here, my mother has always stood by my side. Unbeknownst to me. Unbeknownst to me. So, yeah, we end up, she ended up telling her friend that I was pregnant, and that was a whole big thing because, like I said, he's 7 years older than me. So at the time I had her, I was 16, so he was 22, if I could do the math right. And it was some people in our family, in our circle. Back in the days, you got to understand, back in the days, families and neighborhoods and communities were a lot closer than they are now. Now, you don't even know who your neighbors are. You know, you don't know who lived down the street. Where we grew up at, where we lived at, you knew who your neighbors was on the whole block. From the front of the block to the back of the block. You knew who your neighbors was. You knew who the kids was. Because if you did anything wrong, they was going to tell. You know what I'm saying? So, it was a shock to the community that I was pregnant at 16 and that my daughter's father was Sean. You know, because everybody looked at all of us as family. You know, so for me to be pregnant, it's almost like being pregnant by your brother. You know what I'm saying? That's how the family and the community looked at us, you know, as a whole. So, anyway, it was some people in his family. In his family, I remember when married to his family. Let me just say that, girl. This is a story. That's why it's called a story time. It was somebody that was married to somebody in his family that told my mother that she needs to file for statutory rape. And I told my mother, I literally begged my mother not to, because even though I was young and I wasn't capable of making adult decisions, I was a willing participant. So we never filed charges or anything like that. It just wasn't something that we did. I don't know about other communities, you know. So, excuse me. And I need to say that I was molested at an early age. You know, a lot of people, you know, don't like to talk about that subject. It's almost taboo. It was not a family member. It was somebody outside of the family dynamics. It wasn't a family member. And I was molested. You know what I'm saying? And so early on, I learned that feeling was something that I used to cope with. You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking about me. I don't know who needs to hear this, right? I wasn't planning on telling this part. I never planned to tell the part. I always tell the part that I want to tell, and then God leads me to tell something else, right? Just a little bit more to help somebody out. So I was, and at that time, my household wasn't a place where I felt comfortable to go to my mother and say, Mom, this is happening to me, X, Y, and Z. So when that happened to me, I just kept it to myself, you know, and I was early on. I must have been about 11. So I lived with that secret all of these years. So, you know, a lot of times when you're assaulted as a young child, sometimes you can tend to be promiscuous, and that's exactly what happened to me. I didn't view sex the same way that if this hadn't happened to a young girl or a young lady, right? So for me, I became an individual. I'm not going to say that I didn't like or I didn't love. It was in my mind just socially acceptable. You know what I'm saying? To put the cart before the horse. You know what I'm saying? So it's only in my later years that I see that this is not working for me and that I needed to change in what it was I did, right? So the way you might view a sexual relationship, I'm learning to view that. And I'm saying within like the latter years of my life, because I've always fixed a feeling with a feeling. You know, some people have a drink. Some people go shopping. Some people this. I have sex, you know. So it kind of distorts your mind frame and your thinking pattern when you're violated at such an early age. You don't know what to do with those feelings. And sometimes women, young girls can tell and they're not believed when they tell. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't planning on telling this. Look, God be having me talk without my permission. So that's where I'm at. You know, I don't live that way anymore. And it's only through the grace of God that I don't live that way. you know, I viewed it as, you know, some men might view it like, let me go get some. And I was watching this girl, River, and she was talking about this young girl said, I hit that. And the girl, River, who was, you know, it's her channel, she said, no, you didn't hit that, you got hit. Because there will always be a distinction between men and women. If a man sleep with 10 people, he the top dog, he the boy, he the homie, he, you know, he did that. If a girl did that, she's a hoe, she's a slut. You understand what I'm saying? So when you look at these women and you see that they're promiscuous, it's like women with a whole bunch of kids. I was watching this thing on TikTok yesterday, and this girl was talking about having 5 kids at 22. It probably, and I'm not saying that this is the case, but it probably was a sexual assault against this young lady in her younger years. You never know what catapults a young girl into the sexual behavior that she exhibits in society. You know, we need to teach the young kids. We need to let them know it's okay. It is a safe space. See, when I was growing up, what was happening in your house, it stayed in your house. You didn't run around. I was watching this story today. The girl was watching her 1-year-old and her 3-year-old brother while the mama was out doing whatever she was doing, boyfriends, whatever. And the mama, you know, the girl called the police because the girl got tired of, these ain't my babies and I'm tired of watching them. You know what I mean? I could never imagine calling the police on my mother, not ever. You know, I just grew up in a time where you just didn't do that. Like if some stuff spilled out of your house, it spilled out, but it wasn't because you told it. Like me having a baby, that spilled out of my house because eventually people were going to see my stomach growing and they were going to see a baby, a new addition to the family. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to just think about the time frame in which my story was told, and some of these women today. You know, we don't live in a society anymore where, I'm not going to say anymore, but it's not as prevalent as it was back in the days. What's staying in my house, stay in my house. You got social media, you got everything where people is telling everything. You know, we didn't have all of these outlets, TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram. We didn't have all of this stuff back in there. What was it back in the days? MySpace. You didn't have all of this stuff back then. We didn't even have cell phones. So anyway, I just figured I'll tell y'all a little bit about me. I was what the old folks call fast and hot in the tail. But I thank God for his grace and his mercy. I thank God. Girl, I remember messing around with the pastor's son. Girl, I go over there for prayer. To the pastor's house. I go over there for prayer. We didn't have sex or nothing, but we fooling around, you know, touching and what little fast kids do. Anyway, look, y'all ain't getting no more of my business. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you watching. I love you guys. Girl, God just be like, nope, I need you to tell it. I need you to tell it to help somebody. You know, I tell y'all all the time, if I talk about something, I done been delivered from it. So it's no, like, I'm going to feel some type of way because somebody say something in the comments. If I talk about it, God done already dealt with me with it. He done already forgiven me. I done already asked for forgiveness. And that thing is under the blood. I love you all. Until next time. Bye.
Can never be what I am, but as long as he with me, that's what it's going.